Tuesday, the 26th of November. Welcome everyone to Frontier Opening Bell. I am boasting a number of markets are already opening for the second day of the week. Remember, it's the final business and markets week in the month of November. And today, all eyes on Nigeria's central bank interest rates decision that will be delivered at 2 p.m. local time. The Central Bank of Nigeria is expected to raise interest rates again after we saw the third quarter GDP numbers of about 3.4% for the third quarter released yesterday by the Statistics Office, including the unemployment data and a couple of other data as well. So we're expecting the announcement to come in today. Keep an eye on that very well. In the meantime, investors yesterday dumped Nigerian stocks 0.21%, led largely by the banking sector, 1.6% in the negative territory, and piled into the government securities, bonds, treasuries, open market operations paper, fixed income at the FMDQ Securities Exchange, 326.7 billion naira on Monday on the expectation that the central bank will raise interest rate further today by at least 50 basis points. A BRVM next door in Cote d'Ivoire was down by 0.25%. The Egyptian stock market continued in that negative trajectory, started Sunday 0.77% in the red. That was another 0.42% added on Tuesday. On Monday, the markets index, DGX30, holding the 30,000 level, by the way. In Nairobi, the stock market was down about 0.453%. That's slightly lower than 0.5%, 112.26. We've seen 115 on the Osher index on the Nairobi markets in November. The GSC in South Africa fell below the 85,000 level by 0.86%. So broadly speaking, African markets were largely choppy to the downside on Monday to start a new week, completely different from the rest of the developed markets in Europe, in the US and Asia, with the outlook on U.S. interest rate decision in December, the whole outlook on the Trump's administration, the peak of a new cabinet for the new administration starting in January. But let's take it further and look at a couple of headlines as we get the day going forward. Coffee prices trading higher, surging 64% since the year started, now at around 1997 level, according to some news sources, because supply concerns are there from some of the world's biggest coffee producers because of the climate change impact. We've seen impact of that in East and Southern Africa. Australia has done about 10 trillion shillings investment in Tanzania's mining sector. That's according to news sources, while Rwanda has signed a deal to support Guinea in West Africa to digitize its public procurement system. That's a deal that is on the table, a handshake between East Africa and West Africa. That's some good news. Congo are planning to reform to boost revenue amid a cash shortage in the DRC economy, while the plan by the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to build a second runway is now facing a setback because of the cancellation of the Adani's multi-billion dollars deal with Kenya. President Ruto cancelled that deal. Adani Group also issued a statement on the Indian Stock Exchange saying that the cancellation will have no material impact on the company's earnings and results moving forward. Let's step into West Africa. Of course, we're just getting news that Sierra Leone has flagged off its new international airline, which will open routes from December the 2nd to Heathrow Airport in London, with the country's capital here in West Africa. That's some good news as far as the commercial aviation sector is concerned for West Africa. The biggest news today, of course, you know that interest rate decision by the monetary policy, the final meeting for this year. There were a lot of concerns yesterday about Nigeria's unemployment data that was released by the Statistics Office, showing the number down at about 4.5% for the second quarter. Many Nigerians believe that the unemployment figure being revised and using a new methodology should be much higher than that. That's also been discussed online. Then, of course, you've got President Tinubu yesterday saying that he welcomes the third quarter GDP numbers showing 3.46% in the third quarter ended September, but says there's more work to be done. That's according to the special advisor to the president on media and public communication, and says Nigerians will need to see and feel the impact of GDP growth in their pockets and in their daily lives. So the president admits through his media communication team that there's a whole lot more work to be done, despite the GDP growth from about 2% in the first quarter to the early figures around 3%. Now that goes roughly to about 3.5% in the third quarter. We'll keep an eye open on the fourth quarter, which will end later in December. Investors, as I said yesterday, Dom, the stock market went heavy on the fixed income on expectations of interest rate hike today by the monetary policy meeting. Ghana has opened the 100-kilometer Tema Mpakadan rail line. Trains is a standard gauge railway, part of the infrastructure that President Nana Akufo-Addo is doing before he leaves office in December. We have about 14 candidates contesting for the office of the president of Ghana as President Akufo-Addo's tenure comes to a close. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has praised Togo as a model of economic stability. That's one of the smallest economy in West Africa. Let's step further into Southern Africa. With the whole concerns whether the decision by the SARB, the Reserve Bank, to cut interest rate by 25 basis points last week was enough to get the economy moving. However, the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, says South Africa needs not multiple or several anti-graft agencies, but one very strong anti-corruption agency should get the job done for Africa's most advanced economy. In the meantime, next door Zimbabwe, the EFDB's president, Dr. Kumi Adesina, says he would like to see a debt deal for Zimbabwe, $21 billion, the debt size of this economy, to be done before he leaves office in September of 2025. In Zimbabwe, still in the economic news, the Rainbow Tourism Group is paying about $5 million to buy the Nyanga's Hotel and Casino from the owners. In corporate news, still in Southern Africa, Anglo American is selling the remainder of its coal business for about 89 billion rand. That's coming through on Monday. On today, all the economists and statistics officials and others are going back home from Gaborone in Botswana at the end of the 3-day African Economic Conference. Today, we're expecting the EFDB and the Afrexim Bank to get the Africa Visa Openness Conference to be spoken to. That's coming in the afternoon from Gaborone in Botswana. In the meantime, the new administration in Gaborone says it's going to pay $22 to parents of newborn babies as a monthly grant to support their economic situation. Congratulations. You folks there can perhaps go on and have more babies. $22 on the table for the diamond bleeding producing economy on the continent, also looking to expand into financial services, targeting Mauritius on the Indian Ocean island. Let's move to North Africa. And of course, we're getting this out of the Arab African International Bank yesterday. Says it's gotten the support of the International Finance Corporation, the IFC, and a few others for that $500 million sustainability bond that was issued for Egypt to support companies within the medium and small enterprises segment of the economy. In the meantime, the European Union is offering Morocco about 200 million euros in post-earthquake deal, while remittances for Egyptians abroad is climbing $20.8 billion, according to media reports on Monday. That was at the end of September, and that data came from the Central Bank of Egypt. Finally, Morocco is going to start a public tender for that mega Nigeria gas pipeline. That project, worth about $25 billion is expected to get underway. Morocco says its own stretch of the gas pipeline will open public tenders to get the pipeline project ready, and that will leave other countries originating from Nigeria and across West Africa Atlantic Ocean corridor to get their own side of the project up and running. Morocco says it's going to start its own public tenders sometime in 2025. Keep those headlines in mind as you get your business and market day on the way for Tuesday, the 26th of November. I am Bosun Omofa. Do have a great day, everyone, and see you again soon.